Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Healthy Living Live. I'm Chef AJ, and before I introduce my guest, I just want to mention, because many of you asked how to get that secret tahdig recipe, which is a Persian crunchy rice dish that's normally made with a lot of oil, how to make it without oil. Well, Shada Soleimani is going to be doing that webinar on Monday night, and we're going to be posting the link in the feed right here. But without further ado, I want to introduce the guest today, who is Anja Cass. Her website is Cooking with Plants. She's got a bunch of really cool books she's going to tell you about. She's even going to demonstrate some recipes from it. And we're also going to give you a discount code of 15% if you'd like to purchase one of her amazing books. And I first heard of Anja because of some really wonderful cheese recipes she had that actually looks like cheese, tastes like cheese, melts like cheese. And I asked her if I could use the recipe in one of my webinars and only changing it very slightly, taking the salt out. And she was so kind to let me do that. So it's so great to see you in person. And thank you so much for being here. Welcome, Anja.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be on your page today and cooking live and sharing with your community. So very, very excited.
So what are you going to make for us today?
So today I'm going to make a couple of recipes out of my new cookbook, which will hopefully reach me this week or next week. I haven't even seen it myself yet. That's how hot off the press this is. So it's my 15-minute meals cookbook, and the recipes I'm making are a creamy vegan seafood marinara.
Wow.
So a plant-based, whole food plant-based calamari. So that is the first recipe I'm making, and then also a lentil bolognese. So these are both.
Well, I was looking at recipes in your book, and they're just amazing. I mean, the ones that I wrote down that I want to try, you had a smoked barbecue cabbage roll, a kale and potato lasagna, a red lentil, what was it? Something with a red lentil pancake with like creamy beetroot and a cheese made out of corn. You're just so creative in the kitchen.
Yeah, well, basically, when I went plant-based back in 2012, it was because of a heart condition. I had a bulging aorta, and so health reasons led me to do a lot of research. And then I found the China study, and I watched Forks Over Knives, and everything started to point me to a plant-based diet. But having come from a German background, my previous diet was just terrible. I ate a lot of meat and dairy and processed foods, and it was really, really bad. So it was time to clean up my act, and so I tried eating plant-based, and within about 4 to 6 months, I lost over 50 pounds. And I'd always loved cooking, so basically for me it was finding ways I could cook my favorite meals but plant-based, and over time they became more whole food based as well. So that's sort of where these recipes are stemming from. And I just like using my creativity and trying to get textures and taste the same, very similar to traditional non-plant-based foods, and converting more people to eat healthy food that's plant-based.
Well, your recipes are delicious. They're easy to make, and you have a wonderful picture in your book of you in a bikini. That was really that's worth the price of the book right there.
That's not the feature of the book, but it is in there.
You're adorable. Judy
right.
says she loves you and that you're awesome, just so you know.
Oh, thank you, Judy.
And Judy saying that your videos helped her so much when she was transitioning. She loves your style, hopes you're okay. Good to see you making videos. So we've got somebody from Melbourne watching you named Susan, and Jackie saying two of her favorite ladies. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks, Ricky. So we're excited to see what she is going to make for us today.
Yeah, it's exciting to have everyone here. I don't think I haven't cooked live on anyone else's channel. Normally I do a few little quick lives on my own pages or on my YouTube. So this is something very different for me, and learning about new technology. So thank you for teaching me that and getting me out of my comfort zone so I can grow in the technology arena.
All right, well, let's get cooking.
Okay. All right. So the first recipe I'm going to start with is the creamy vegan seafood marinara. So the main ingredient in this is actually king oyster mushrooms. And I noticed on here it says special king oyster mushrooms. I don't know what makes them so special because they look exactly like every other king oyster mushroom that I have seen. So I don't know if these are available in the US. I don't know what. Have you heard of king oyster mushrooms, AJ?
Yeah, I believe we do have them. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what your stance is on mushrooms, how often you use them for cooking, but
I think they're great in cooking. You know, I always like to cook them rather than to eat them raw because I don't, you know, Dr. Furman says we need to eat them cooked. I just think they taste better cooked. You know, they're very meaty.
Yes, yes. So I love using mushrooms, especially for people that aren't plant-based already, because it does mimic that texture and it gives a lot of flavour. So instead of using a traditional beef stock, a mushroom stock can really add a lot of flavour. And a combination of mushrooms is always good to use as well. So yeah, I find them really, really good. But recently I went to the Asian markets and I've discovered these king oyster mushrooms. So I'll just show it a little bit closer here.
They're huge.
It's huge. It's about, well, almost half the size of my hand. And I have found ones that are even bigger than this. So I do get them from the Asian markets and sometimes at our farmers markets. So the texture is just amazing because the stem of these is just so thick and it doesn't break down when you cook them. So it's great as a chicken style substitute and it just has amazing texture. So in this recipe, it's just fantastic. And I'm going to show you how to turn this into calamari rings.
Oh so my God, that's so clever. You know, I've never actually even eaten octopus. So
yeah, I think I had it as a child. I didn't really, wasn't so much the flavor of it that I enjoyed, but it was the texture. Having that texture when you're eating things. So that's what I like about this recipe.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so basically I start by cutting off the end bit. So it's actually two very, very different textures. So the end bit is a lot softer and it's almost, I don't really want to say slimy. It's not a very nice, very nice word to use, but it is a softer type of texture. So this is actually good in this recipe because it mimics like an oyster type of texture. So these will just be cut into, I'll just cut them into quarters, and then these will go in and they will break down and be similar to an oyster style of texture when they're cooked up. And then for the calamari, I just simply slice this stem into discs. So however thick you want to make these. I don't know if you can see this on camera. I can't really see my hand.
I took myself off, so you're on the screen. I had your name over it, and we couldn't see it for a minute, but I removed it, so we can see it perfectly.
Okay. So just chopping these off. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to fire away.
Yeah, I'm happy to ask any questions you have of Anja. I'm reading the feed. They're just happy to see you. They love your videos.
So I'd actually like to hear what everyone's favorite mushrooms are. So,
yeah, guys, what's your favorite mushroom? Magical mushrooms.
Never tried them myself, but a lot of friends like them. So basically these are cut into discs. And what I'm going to do now is I've got this set of, I'll just put these back in, a set of these round cookie cutters. So there's all different sizes. And I think in Australia, eBay is probably more common than Amazon. So I got these off eBay. And yeah, they're just all different sizes. So these are what I'm going to use to cut little discs out of the stems of these mushrooms. So as you can see, this one is just slightly smaller than the disc. And I'll be cutting out a circle. And there you have it. There is your calamari ring ready to go. So because of this texture, it doesn't break down once it's cooked. So it stays nice and chewy and is absolutely delicious. And then I've got a smaller one that I'm going to use. So the internal disc that's come out of here, let's So I'm just trying to hold it up so everyone can see this.
Mm.
So the internal disc is now perfectly sized for the next size of the cookie cutter. And I'll cut out another one of these. And then from that one disc, I've got these 2 lovely calamari rings. And then the inside, you can either dice this up or slice it up or even put it in as a whole piece. I like to keep it whole. It's just another level of texture in there. And
that is so cool.
Yeah, so we've got three types of textures. So the calamari rings, and I guess this is like a seafood scallop type of, I think it's a scallop. I can't even remember my seafood anymore. And then this is your oyster substitute. So from the one mushroom, you've got 3 different types of seafood replacements that are ready to go. And whole food, plant-based. How good is that?
Yeah, Naomi says, brilliant, Anja. Yeah, great.
Hi, Naomi. It's so good that you jumped over here. I let everyone know in all my different groups this morning that I would be on here. So it's good to see that a few people have come across already. So...
Nice. So to answer your question, Jackie said she likes crimini a lot. Suzanne likes mushrooms that someone else cooks. Peggy loves them all. So,
what was the first mushroom?
Crimini.
Oh,
They look like the white button mushrooms, but they're a little browner. They sell them a lot here, like at Trader Joe's. Okay. And let's see.
So they're not. Are they like a Swiss mushroom?
They look, to me, they don't taste that much different than the white ones. It's just they look darker. I like portobello a lot. That's probably my favorite because it's you could stuff them. That's probably why. Naomi says she likes a mixture of mushrooms, but especially the floppy black ones.
Floppy black ones.
Yeah.
Are they the ones that look like seafood? I think I know the one she means. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they're called. Floppy black ones is probably a really good description.
I'll see if I can Google what the name of a floppy black mushroom is.
I think they're an Asian style mushroom again. I think they look almost like a seaweed. They're quite seaweed-like in texture. I'll just keep chopping all of these out. So basically for this recipe, you can use as many as you like, however long you want to be here, and using your cookie cutters. So this is also a great thing that you can make with kids because they love just playing around with these cookie cutters, and yeah, it's just really easy for them to help in the kitchen.
Yeah, kids will eat what they make.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you won't eat healthy, you got to get them to make stuff.
Yeah. And it's a good way to get them to eat mushrooms too because of the different textures. Some children don't like mushrooms if they know it's mushrooms, but if they're changing it into something else, they don't even realize what's happening. So if you don't have the king oyster mushrooms, you could probably use the portobello mushrooms as well, but they will break down more. The good thing with these ones is when they cook, they really do stay very solid. I also have a recipe in the book for some satay skewers, and again I use the stems of these because they just hold up so well, and thread them onto a skewer and then just make some skewers out of that. So yeah, you could make whatever flavors that you like. And
Fran likes morel mushrooms, and let's see. Oh, Jackie says crimini is a baby portobello. That makes sense. She says they're firmer to her than a white button. And Sandy takes mushroom powder for multiple sclerosis and cognitive issues, but cooks with white or portobello. Nancy likes the ones that look like sponges. And what else have we got? Oh, shiitake. Some people are saying shiitake. Yeah, some people don't like mushrooms. It's weird. So I find if I put them in the food processor and kind of make them look like riced cauliflower, they won't even know it's in the recipe.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's great for bolognese, for burgers, anything really. They're just, very versatile. And they just add such a depth of flavor, but
They really do. They do. And I know that they're very nutritious. I believe they're on Dr. Furman's everyday list, G-Bombs, and I think they're on Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen too, if I'm not mistaken. Colin says, never met a mushroom I don't like.
That's awesome.
She used king oyster mushroom and made a pulled pork. That's cool.
Ooh, yes. Yeah, that'd be delicious.
Leslie thinks that the black floppy ones might be called the wood ear mushrooms. We are sure learning a lot about fungus.
Well, I usually actually also put my mushrooms out in the sun because it absorbs vitamin D, and it doesn't disappear. So you can put them out in the sun for a few hours. It'll absorb the vitamin D from the sun, and then you can actually put them in the mushrooms and it will retain the vitamin D. So I basically researched that quite a few years ago because my son doesn't like to go outside. He's a teenager now, but at the time he didn't like to go outside and was always inside in front of the computer or playing musical instruments, etc. So he became a little bit deficient in vitamin D, even though we're in Australia and there's a lot of sun where we are. Just going to school each day and walking through the sun for a few minutes just wasn't enough to keep his vitamin D levels up. So I started to research what could be done for that and natural ways to boost his vitamin D. And basically I came across some studies that said, yes, put your mushrooms out in the sunshine, they absorb the vitamin D, and then you can keep them in the fridge and they'll be just packed with vitamin D. So I tried that for a few weeks and he went back and had his blood tests redone and his vitamin D levels had gone up. So that was really, really exciting to learn about that. So
you don't look old enough. You don't look old enough to have a teenage son.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm 45, so I'm definitely old enough. But yes, I definitely looked older prior to eating a vegan diet, that's for sure. I was very unhealthy, so.
You're all the way in Australia, right?
Yes.
So are you friends with Budfit, or not all vegans in Australia know each other?
We're not all in the tiny little same spot. He's actually right down the bottom of Australia and I'm towards the top of Australia. So we have caught up once before, a couple of years ago, but yes, we're a long, long way apart. I'd probably have to fly a few hours to get there.
Oh wow! I love the way you guys sound. I love your accents. They're just so cool. How did you first get into a plant-based diet? Do you want to tell a little bit of your story while you're making your food?
Yeah, sure. So in 2012, I came back from a trip overseas. So all of my family, except for my parents, live in Germany. So I was born there and moved here as a child. And basically they loaded me up with all the bad foods. And I came back to Australia and I just felt really bad. I kept getting migraines and I was overweight and I just didn't feel right. So I went for a general checkup with my GP and he basically said, oh, I think I can hear a heart murmur. I'm like, oh, okay, what's that? I didn't even know what a heart murmur was. And he goes, oh, I think you should go and see a cardiologist and just get an ultrasound and get them to check you. I just want to make sure everything's okay. Okay. So I went off for my ultrasound and then the results came back and it was the start of a bulging aorta that was showing. And so I had no idea what that was, but it all sounded very scary. And there was talk of putting me onto medication for the rest of my life. But no one could actually give me a guarantee that that would make any difference. And I saw another cardiologist and he basically said, oh, look, you're too young, nothing's wrong with you. And I thought, oh, well, I don't want this to keep progressing. How do I, reverse this or stop this? So I basically started doing research online. So luckily I live in a time when the internet is around and everything just kept pointing to a plant-based diet. And I watched Forks Over Knives, which was very eye-opening. and I bought myself the China Study cookbook. Sorry, the China Study book at the time, and basically started reading that and found that to reverse heart disease or most Western diseases, a plant-based diet really is the way to go. So I thought, okay, well, I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to try this and see if I can make myself healthier. And so I started eating plant-based, and I really had no idea what I was doing at the time, and there weren't any websites at the time around that were really teaching recipes. And so I think in the China Study there was one page in the book that actually listed just some of the general things that you could eat, all the various vegetables and blah. So I used those lists, and I thought, okay, I'll just use this like a checklist, and I'll just create different curries and lasagnas, burgers, whatever I could, whatever I would traditionally eat. And I just used that list as a checklist of, oh yeah, as long as I include these sort of ingredients, I'm fine. So I just started winging it. And then I started losing lots of weight. I lost over 50 pounds in about 5 months.
Wow. That's not lost 50 pounds, but that you did it in a short amount of time.
Yeah. So, well, it just shows how bad my diet was previously. Yeah, so, and that was still eating a lot of processed vegan foods, so deep fried chips or fries, as they're called in America. So yeah, I was eating a lot of fries and still eating oily foods, but still all that weight came off because I was no longer eating all the heavy meats and cheeses and those sorts of foods. And then basically, when I first started, I was using a lot of the mock meats. So I would have my traditional type of meal, but the meat component I would use mock meats from the grocery store. But over time, it just tasted bad. I thought I can make better things myself using whole foods, and yeah, things like mushrooms. I just love mushrooms. And beans, and yeah, I just started using natural whole foods rather than the processed things. But at the time, it was good for transitioning, because otherwise it would have made it, I think, very difficult, just because I was cooking for my son as well. So initially he wanted to have his meats and everything. So probably the first 3 months I was cooking separate meals for my ex-husband at the time and for my son. And after a while I thought, oh no, I can't keep cooking separate meals. So I started cooking what I was having, and my son actually at the time saw an ad on TV to save pigs, basically. So he signed a pledge. I think he was only about 9 at the time. He said, I don't want to eat piggies anymore, Mum. I don't want to eat animals, and I've signed the pledge and I'm never going to do it again. So of his own accord, I think he actually saw the ad when he was at my parents' house one time. So he actually made that decision himself. And yeah, and then when he was at my parents' house, he also saw a documentary of a lady who was speaking on there, saying she became vegetarian for health reasons and lost all this weight. And he said, oh, she was like you, Mum. She was like you. So I want to do the same. And so, yeah, since then, he has never eaten any meat at all. Every now and then now, as a teenager, if he goes out with his friends, he will have a pizza and it might have a little bit of cheese. But if he has the option, he always has vegan food, which is good. So I'm happy that he's stuck with that. Yeah, so from there, at that time too, my ex-husband, he'd had dairy allergies for years. Well, we didn't actually know it was from the dairy. He just kept getting allergies. He would be sneezing all the time. He'd have a blocked up nose, and it just happened all the time. And he thought it was just from where we were living. and pollens and things like that. He would get very seasonal allergies as well. And he actually he would use a lot of the over-the-counter medications and nothing ever worked. Then he would go to, we went to a specialist at the time, and he paid, I think it was $4,000 or $5,000 for these special injections from someone in France. I think they were from France, imported into Australia. And so he went on to these, I think it was a 5-month round of, these injections from France. And they actually didn't do anything. So that was a waste of money. And then when I started eating whole food plant-based and I read the China study, I said, look, dairy is linked to a lot of these bad things. Maybe try cutting out dairy. So I said, I don't know. And I said, look, just try it. Try it for 2 weeks. You've got nothing to lose. And he said, oh, okay. So he tried it. Lo and behold, his allergies went away, and he went, oh, wow, I feel amazing. And then that was probably about 4 weeks before Christmas. So, yeah, around November. And then we went to my parents' house for Christmas lunch, and my mum made a custard. And I said, well, no, I'm not having any. But, if you want to have some, that's your choice. So he ended up having maybe 2 tablespoons of this custard, and within 20 minutes he was sneezing. And he went, oh, he goes, no, I'm never having dairy again. So, yeah, that had been the problem for all of these years since he was a teenager. So, yeah, he'd been sick pretty much all his life and not known that it was from dairy. So it was as simple as that. He didn't need to spend $5,000 on injections, which didn't work. So, yeah, it's just amazing the power of
plants. So Sherry says, you are so creative, Anja. I have all 3 of your cookbooks. So excited for the next book to arrive. And Jamie wanted to know if you use oil.
I don't use oil. I did when I first started, but then I started to learn that it actually is inflammatory for the body. So, yeah, I haven't used that for years. And I think probably 99.9% of the recipes on my website are oil-free. There might be a couple when I first started the website where I did put oil, but it can be very, very easily substituted. So I mainly use things, or if I'm water frying, I use water, or some vegetable broth. Sometimes the brine from chickpeas, I'll use that. If I'm making a dressing or something, it has that oily type of consistency, that thickness. So, yeah, those sorts of things is what I use. And, yeah, all of the recipes that I make are oil-free. All of my cookbooks are oil-free. Yeah. So that, I don't...
Yeah, now I remember that's how I found your recipe, because you had a cheese recipe that didn't use nuts, because so many of the faux cheeses, they're delicious, but they're very high fat. And your smoked paprika cheese, which is like an amazing recipe, it really is the texture of cheese.
I was very excited when I came up with that, because at the time, well, that was many years ago. So going on from my story, once I lost all the weight, everyone kept saying, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'd say, oh, I'm eating a plant-based diet. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, what do you eat? So I started creating all these different recipes, and I put a couple online on YouTube, and I pointed my friends there. I said, look, this is what I eat. It's just a sample to show you. And then all of a sudden all these other people started watching, and that's basically how my YouTube channel started. So it was just me sharing with a couple of friends, and then other people jumped on board, like, oh, okay, this is great. I can share my recipes with a lot of people. And then, yeah, one of the hardest things for people to give up is cheese. So, yeah, I thought I'm going to create some cheese recipes. And I really like sweet potato, and I like that taste, and I thought, I think this might work well. It'll add color, it'll add flavor, and yeah, played around and did a big happy dance when I created that one. And yeah, even before I uploaded it, I was so excited. I thought, there's nothing like this out there. So yeah, I'm glad people like yourself have taken it on board and are enjoying it. And yeah, it's super delicious and easy to make. So
yeah, it's a terrific recipe. How many books do you have now?
I have, sorry, I've just got my hot plate going here. I've got, I'll just grab them. I've got 3. So, and the 4th one is the one that is now coming out this week. So the first one was Vegan Made Easy. So, and that's my premise. I like to keep all of my recipes super easy, quick and easy to make, because people need quick and easy recipes, basically.
Absolutely.
So the second cookbook is Vegan Friends Cookbook. So this isn't 100% oil-free, because it's got 18 other people that have contributed recipes. So there's 5 different categories, and recipes from all around the world. And it's quite good because everyone has a slightly different style. So it's a nice mixture of recipes. And I actually, sorry, I'm smoking up the place here. I actually created this recipe book because I went for a walk with my son one day, and wanted to teach him that, you can be an entrepreneur, you can, think outside the square, and you've got the internet at your hands now. And we were walking around the park, and I said, things like a cookbook. I could create a cookbook and get lots of people from around the world to share their recipes, and, we could all combine and create something really good. And that's how this evolved. So I'm really quite happy with this, because it was just a great teaching method to show my son that, you can reach out to people around the world and share your knowledge and ideas with others. And, it's so exciting that we have the internet and we can reach so many people these days. So it was a great lesson to show him that he could set up a business, and it can be global, and you can help people anywhere. So that was a really exciting one to create. And then my 3rd cookbook is the Cooking with Plants cookbook. Same sort of premise, no oil, and quick and easy vegan recipes with simple ingredients as well. And then the latest one, which I don't have yet, is my 15-minute meals cookbook. So that basically came about, I got divorced a couple of years ago, and after that, I lost my motivation, and cooking for one wasn't very exciting. And I didn't cook very creative meals. I'd have a basic salad, and so I didn't really share many recipes during that time. But I thought people need quick meals, so I actually started, because I'd lost motivation, I started implementing a 15-minute concept and doing things for 15 minutes, and just motivating myself, setting a timer. Okay, 15 minutes, and this will be done. And if I had jobs to do, this will be done. So I started doing that, and that premise then led to the 15-minute meal cookbook. So, so all the recipes in there can be done in 15 minutes. There's different sections, so things that you can actually put in your slow cooker as well. There's oven recipes, fry pan, all sorts of different categories. So it's really, really great.
Yeah. So someone asked if you actually ever use an Instant Pot.
Not the Instant Pot as such. I haven't found one in Australia. Sorry, I'm just testing to see if my pan's hot enough with some water here, and it is. I'll just get these in cooking. I've got a similar one that I use a lot. I just find it really good for things like lentil dal and curries, and even I cook my potatoes in the jacket in there. I use it for all sorts of things. So yes, I love it. I do love it. But probably, I don't know, it's quite warm most of the year where I live, so I do use it for things like potatoes a lot. But I tend to use my air fryer more, actually. That's probably my favorite gadget in the kitchen. So I'm just cooking up these calamari in the fry pan. So make sure your fry pan's nice and hot. And then I always like to just keep a glass of water on hand, and that's my oil. So if things start to stick or I need a little bit more moisture, I just put a little bit more of the water in. And it's just no, they're all in Kindle format as well. So they're available on Amazon in Kindle format. So yeah, in the EPUB format, so you can get the books on there as well, ebooks.
Okay, cool. And Nina says she loves your potato pancakes.
Yum. Excellent. I'm so glad.
You're adorable.
Thank you. I'm just trying to organize now. What else am I putting in here? So I've got some sun-dried tomatoes. Usually I get them from the farmers markets, or yeah, these are a different brand to what I normally get. So these do have a little bit of salt in there, so I recommend washing them off if they do have salt. But just for getting this done quickly now, I'm just going to add these in. Okay, so yes, add some sun-dried tomatoes or anything that you like, really. This is, all of my recipes are just so simple that they can be interchanged. You can put whatever you like. If you want some bell peppers in here, or add some onions, anything that you like. Yeah, it's up to you what flavors you like. And then just stir that around. Okay, that's cooking up nicely. And what else am I adding in here? I've only made this myself probably 2 times, so I'm reading my own recipe here. So get yourself some Italian passata, which is a tomato tomato sauce, and then add in about a cup of that. And then give it another stir through. So yeah, just a few simple ingredients, and the flavors are just amazing. It's quick and easy to make, and that's how cooking should be. Because if we get home after work, or it's the end of the day and we're feeling tired, we want something healthy in our bodies, and we don't want to be spending 5 hours in the kitchen.
Right.
Or yeah, being tempted to go and get takeaway, or or eat convenience foods. This is a great way just to make something quick and easy that's healthy and tastes delicious. I'm using a new I've never used this little device before, this portable cooktop. So I don't know if I've got it turned on or off. Hasn't got much heat in there. But anyway, you get the idea of how to mix this up. And then next I'm just going to add in a little bit of black pepper. And feel free to add any herbs or spices that you like. Black pepper, and I've got a little bit of plant-based milk just to make it a little bit creamy. Just add a splash. Give it a stir through. And this is nearly done. It is done, actually. So if I hadn't been talking, this would have been less than 10 minutes to make this. And I've got some pre-cooked gnocchi here, but you could serve this with anything, over rice or over some mashed potato. You could even serve it over some cooked sweet potatoes as well. Cut them open and put some of this on, and it would be delicious. So that is done. One meal done.
Yum.
And a few fresh herbs on top. Yum. Done. So I don't know if I can really show you.
Wow, I can see it. I wish I could smell it and taste it.
It smells delicious. So I'm just going to transfer it into this pan so I can do into this pot so I can do the next recipe for you. So I can see how we're going for time. I think it's ticking away. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yep.
Woohoo. All right. I'll just give this a quick rinse out. So does anyone have any questions for me?
Yep, guys, happy to. Gayla says she just ordered your 15-minute meals cookbook. Can't wait to see it. Hopefully you use the discount of 15%, Gayla, with the code Chef AJ, all lowercase, all one word.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to getting it myself. I haven't actually seen it, so I'm thinking some of you might actually get it before I get my own copy. Yeah, so I'm hoping at the end of this week or next week they will actually be shipping out. So I'm super excited. It's always exciting to get a copy of your own book when you put in so much effort and it finally arrives. Yes, woohoo!
Yep.
So yeah, it's pretty exciting. All right, so I'm just going to get onto this next recipe now. So that was the creamy vegan seafood marinara. So I hope everyone liked the little calamari tip that I had for you there. So now I'm onto the lentil bolognese. So I've actually got a plastic grater, which chefs usually laugh at me. I've had a few chef friends come over and they think it's hilarious that I'm using this plastic grater. But I actually like it so much better than the metal one. It just really works for me. So they can laugh at me, but I love it. The metal one, I've nearly taken my knuckles off a few times.
Oh my gosh. That's why it's always good to wear a glove.
Yeah, I might have to get myself one of those special gloves. But yeah, with the plastic one, I just find it works really well, and yeah, I don't have any issues. I've had it for years. I love it. I'm happy for the chefs to laugh at me.
So what's the name of your Instant Pot type pot? Even though it's not an Instant Pot, do you know the name of your pressure cooker?
I'll have a look. It's a Philips brand.
Philips,
yeah. But yeah, I haven't found one that I'm super in love with. I've had a few that have actually died on me. So yeah, we need the Instant Pot in Australia. So basically I'm grating this carrot for the bolognese because it releases the flavour and it also makes it super quick and easy to cook the carrot. So this is a good tip. If you're in a hurry and you want to cook something and you want it to have lots of flavour, then grate it. It'll make such a difference. So I'm putting some grated carrot into the pan there. And I'm going to do the same with the onion. Just turn that off for a minute. Normally I would have everything just grated, ready to go. Turn my pan and make sure it's nice and hot. But like I said, this is just a little portable stove that I'm using, cooktop that I'm using just for the video. So just grate your onion and it just releases all those juices and all those flavours, makes it super delicious. And like I said, it's quick and easy to cook because if you're trying to cook fast and you've got chunks of onion, it's going to just not cook through properly and you'll have raw pieces and no flavour. But this will make it taste like it's been cooking for hours, even though you've only just put it on. So yeah, so grate your onion, put that in too. Wash my hands off. So I was going to ask you, AJ, why you don't eat beans.
Yeah, I like them. In 2014, I developed really severe GI problems, IBS and SIBO, and every 6 months or so, I try with like a tablespoon, and some of the tests actually showed an allergy, but I'm just intolerant, and it's sad, but you know. Yeah. Luckily, there's potatoes and winter squashes and grains, and so.
Okay. So did you have to do your life, or it just developed over time?
It happened almost instantly. I don't know. You know, one of the doctors thought it might have been from food poisoning that I got when I was in Mexico, but I don't know. But I'll keep trying. But it's. I wish I could.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was that.
I've actually noticed myself. I have similar issues. So yeah, I was just wanting to learn a bit more about it. And so there's an actual allergy test that they do for it?
Yeah, well, you know, they do some through the blood and they do some through skin testing. And, you know, all the doctors have said that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And so none of them, I mean, since thankfully it's not an anaphylactic reaction, I just get really, really sick that, so I am able to test, you know, like I do about every 6 months, and so far it's just I still get symptoms even for the like the smallest amount. So the GI doctors explained that for people with small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, we just don't have. There's something different in our guts that it's just not. That we just basically can't really even digest them anymore. So I don't know. I've talked to all the doctors, and they say that you can be they're wonderfully healthy foods, but it is possible to be healthy and have longevity even if you can't eat them. So I'm okay. Thanks.
Excellent.
I mean, I do miss things like especially tuna salad, things like Kathy Fisher's tuna made with garbanzo beans. I miss that. That was really one of my favorites with red lentil chili. But, it's okay. I mean, it would have been worse if it was potatoes or sweet potatoes, I got to tell you.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, potatoes a lot. So I've got grated carrot in here, grated onion, and some garlic. So, like I said, by grating it, it releases all the flavors, all the juices, and because it's so small, all the pieces are small, they'll cook really quick and easy, and you won't have raw pieces, and you'll have that full flavor going through, in 15 minutes or less, and that's what this is all about, getting the fresh food on the table really, really quickly and having it taste amazing. So, all right, so we'll turn this back up, turn this heat on. And again, you want to put all this into a hot fry pan and just test that it's hot enough by putting a little splash of water in there, and you'll see it starts bubbling, and that'll tell you that it's hot enough and ready to start cooking. So ideally, I'd like this a little bit hotter than what it is at the moment, but it's being a little bit temperamental. So just imagine you can hear this really sizzling and frying away. And then just keep putting little splashes of water in there and just cook that up for a few minutes. Okay, what am I adding in next? Right. So once that's cooked up, I've just got a tin of lentils, but you could cook your own lentils as well. And I've already drained them off. So add those in, and if you can't eat lentils, maybe try chopping up some cauliflower into small pieces, and that'll give that texture as well. You could even put some pieces of cauliflower into the air fryer and crisp them up, and then add them into your bolognese, so it gives that texture and makes it taste delicious. So, all right, so I've added some lentils in there. I'm also adding in some more of the passata, or the Italian tomato sauce. So you can add whatever sauce you like. If you've got a favorite one that you make or a favorite store-bought one, then by all means add that. And then just give it a stir through and add anything else that you like. If you want to add mushrooms, if you want to add other types of beans, add them in. Any vegetables that you want to add. But this is great served with a potato in the jacket, cut it open, and then serve the bolognese over the top. Or my favorite is to have mashed potatoes and just have them over the mashed potatoes.
Yeah, everything's better with mashed potatoes. So if you were born in Germany, how come you don't have a German accent?
I came to Australia when I was 8. So the theory is if you end up moving to another country and you learn another language before the age of 11, apparently you don't have an accent. So no, my accent's very Australian. So people don't really believe me when I say that I'm from there, but I am. All right. So once this is nice and cooked through, cook it for about 10 minutes or so, and you're done. This is ready to serve. If you find that it's too thick, just add a splash of water, or if you want it more tomato-based, add in more of that tomato passata, and then this is it. I don't want to tip it all over my bench here, but I hope everyone can see that there. But yeah, it smells delicious, quick and easy to make.
Oh, wow.
So it's good. And then at the end, I always like to add some fresh herbs. So I've just chopped up some parsley, and then I'll be putting that over the top. So yeah, just to add an extra burst of flavor and nutrition. Always add some fresh herbs or even a squeeze of lemon is always good to finish off a meal as well. And yum, that's it. So 2 meals done. And yeah, so I hope everyone enjoyed that. And if you have any questions, shoot them at me.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, type them in. Let's see. Twiggy says she's a fan of you and your curried Singapore noodles.
Woo! I haven't made them in a long time. Oh, I might have to make them again. I'm glad you like them.
Tell us about like your day. Like what does a day of eating maybe look like for you?
Oh gosh. I usually don't start. I don't usually feel overly hungry in the mornings. So unless I'm meeting someone for a specific breakfast, I will only eat once I'm hungry. I'm probably more of a savory girl than sweet. So I'll opt for savory things. So if I have leftover boiled potatoes in the fridge, I'll have those. Yeah, nothing too fancy. Yeah, pretty much just any leftovers or yeah, sometimes if I want something sweet, I'll have some berries. I really like berries. More so, I used to eat a lot of bananas, but I found that, I don't know, they just didn't digest all that well for me. So I have bananas every now and then, but I prefer to have berries or grapes or cherries. Sometimes I'll have a smoothie in the morning, or if I've got leftover dal, things like that, I'll have that, leftover soup. Sometimes I might make a salad in the morning or steam some vegetables. So yeah, it really just depends what I feel like. And then lunch is usually a salad or a soup, some type of curry. And then, yeah, dinner is pretty much the same. So, yeah, it's pretty much just what I feel like at the time. And, well, during the time when I was creating the cookbook, it was actually a problem because my fridge was just overflowing with all these meals I'd created, and I had to keep inviting friends over. And, yeah, I think nearly every day I had someone come over so I could feed them some of this food. So pretty much what you see on my website and what you see in my books is what I eat every day.
Well, Katharina says, is there a German version of your recipes too? She would need it for her mom who only speaks German.
Oh, not yet. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I haven't been toying around with the idea of translating my books into Spanish. So a lot of my followers are Spanish speaking. So I have thought about that. And yeah, the possibility of translating them to German is definitely an idea.
Okay. So if somebody wants to follow you, do you have a mailing list? Is it best to go to your Facebook page or YouTube page? How do people connect with you or get in touch with you?
I'm everywhere. So probably the best is my website, cookingwithplants.com. And you'll see on there's a sign up for my newsletter. So if people are on my newsletter, they'll get all of my latest recipes, and yeah, if I have anything happening, they'll hear about it through there. I'm also on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page, Cooking with Plants, and also a Facebook group, the Facebook Cooking with Plants group. And the group is amazing. It's very interactive, and people share their recipes and little tips and tricks. So yeah, I'd love to see people there. I'm on Instagram and also my YouTube channel. So there's definitely the most interaction is on the Facebook group page. Yeah, Facebook group, not the page.
Absolutely. Well, terrific. Well, thank you so much for being here, Anja, and showing us delicious recipes and how we can have calamari again. That was pretty darn cool. Thank you so much. And everybody hop on over to Cooking with Plants and check out all of her amazing books. And don't forget to use my name, all one word, lowercase, Chef AJ, for a generous 15% discount. We've got the holidays coming up, so these will make terrific gifts as well as something you'd like to have for yourself. And don't forget to try my favorite of her recipes, the smoked paprika cheese.
Ooh, yes, for sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome
It's
fun.
been a pleasure. You're really just you're just lovely, and I really love your recipes. And thank you so much for creating such delicious recipes. And thanks all of you guys for watching another episode of Healthy Living. I'm Chef AJ, but today it was Anja who made healthy taste delicious. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.